Good morning. The reading today is Luke 15, verses 11 to 20. Jesus continued, "There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, 'Father, give me my share of the estate.' So he divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in the wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in the whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. When he came to his senses, he said, 'How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am, starving to death? I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.' So he got up and went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son and threw his arms around him and kissed him." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
If you are not familiar with the story of The Lion, the Witch and Wardrobe, what has happened is that Lucy has stepped through a wardrobe into Narnia, a land that is frozen in winter under the rule of the White Witch. And Edmund has followed Lucy, but instead of meeting kind creatures, he has met the White Witch. And she has tempted him with magic food and the promises of power if he brings his brother and his sisters to her. And back in our world, the children are a bit confused, but then all 4 of them soon have entered Narnia, and they have learned, the other brother and 2 sisters have learned from the beavers that Aslan, who is the true king, has returned. And Edmund, meanwhile, slips off to the witch's castle to follow the promise of power and Turkish delight. And he is expecting a throne and a big welcome party, but instead what happens is he's kept prisoner and he finds himself in a bit of a mess. So we're going to watch this next clip now.
Edmund!
What's done is done. There is no need to speak to Edmund about what is past.
Hello. Are you all right? I'm a little tired.
Get some sleep. And Edmund, try not to wander off.
She has renounced her claim on the son of Adam's blood.
How do I know your promise will be kept?
was playing rounders. I like rounders. And occasionally, I hit a really good ball in rounders, and it goes a long way. And so this was one of those occasions. I hit the ball, and it was a great shot, but it was in totally the wrong direction. And it went straight through the window. And I wonder if you've had that moment before when you're like, oh no. I've got to say sorry, I've got to face the music. That terrible moment where your stomach just drops. And everyone said to me, who was playing the rounders with me, oh my gosh, you are in so much trouble. I didn't actually know the people who owned the house, and they weren't my parents or anything, so I gathered my courage, and I walked back thinking about what I was going to say. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, they could shout at me, they could punish me, or both, or make me pay for it, or give me the silent treat, and I'll definitely never be invited back. And either way, I did not enjoy this walk back to the house with my bat in my hand, thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? So I got to the back door, and I took a deep breath, and I went inside, and I braced myself for what was to come. And the lady who owned the house was bending over the table with her back to me when I walked in, and she turned around and she looked, and I looked at her trying to work out how angry she was, and three things happened. The first thing that happened was that she said, are you having fun? And I thought, she doesn't know that I've just smashed her window. So then she handed me the dustpan and brush, and she said to me, should we clear it up together? And I was like, okay. This is good. And then the third thing that happened was that we came downstairs, and I was thinking, well, what now? Do I sort of stay inside because I'm punished, you know? Do I have to wash up to make it right? And she looked at me and she said, never mind, why don't you go outside and rejoin the game? And I have never felt so relieved in all my life. And I'm sure you recognize that feeling in the pit of your tummy when you think, oh no, I've messed up, and now I have to face everyone, and it's a bit of an awkward feeling. And in our Narnia story, Edmund had just massively messed up. He had fallen for the lies from the White Witch, he had betrayed his family, and he had put them in danger, and he had just been rescued by Aslan. And he hadn't broken a window, he had done much, much worse. And when he came back to his brother and sisters, he didn't really know how they were going to say, what they were going to say. He had to do the walk of shame that we've just watched in this video. And he comes home and he faces everyone and their reactions. Now, I don't know about you, in that situation, whether you're likely to find an excuse for the thing that you've just done, or whether you just are going to say sorry. So I've got a little game, and I wonder if my older young people might like to come and help me, because we've got camp coming up, and everything I'm thinking about at the moment is camp. So can I have at least 3 volunteers? But you can double up if you want to. That's one, thank you, Glo. Any other young people like to come and help me who are a bit creative? Great, come. Oh, you can if you want to. Come on then. All right, now what I want you to do is I've got 3 bowls here, and I want you to take 1 piece of paper from each bowl, okay? And I'm going to give you 3 scenarios that might happen at camp, and you need to come up with a really creative excuse as to why they have just happened. All right? Okay, good. Do you want to come and get 1 piece of paper from each bowl? Okay. So you've got 3 pieces of paper each, 1 from each bowl, and I'm going to give you just a few seconds to think about how you're going to answer. I'm going to ask you all the same question, and each of you can decide on what your response is. I know, get creative, right? Look at your confused faces. You're going to be great at this. You have to piece together your excuse. I'm going to give you a scenario. So, for example, here's the first one. Yes, using the words on your pieces of paper. So, you saw the cakes from the cake sale that we are holding after the service, and you have sneakily eaten a few of the cakes already. What is your excuse?
Do I use all 3?
Yes, you have to use all 3.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to start?
All the cakes?
Yeah, no, a few of the cakes. You've eaten a few of the cakes, not all of them. Okay, so are we ready to go? Let's start again. So you've eaten some of the cakes from the cake sale, and what is your excuse, Glo?
My mum was shouting at me down the phone, and I was so paranoid that I thought the cakes were mine because she was shouting at me about cakes. that I hadn't taken care of. So I was like, oh, cakes, and then I just ate it.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's not my fault. It's my mom's.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah, Livy, why did you eat the cakes?
The vicar, my mum, was crying into her pillow, and I felt bad, so I took a cake for myself and a cake for her, and I brought it home to make her happy.
Good answer. Okay. Elise.
My dad never gives me marshmallows, so I decided to eat some cakes to make up for my sad life without marshmallows. And my dad was, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's really, really good. All right. I've got 2 more scenarios for you. I do have a few more bits of paper in there, so you can either swap yours around or you can get, there's a couple more in there. But you all need 3 pieces of paper. That's it, nice and quickly. I'm on the clock. Okay. While you're doing that, I'm going to tell you what the next scenario is, okay? This is likely to happen at some point, more than one point in the next week when we're on camp. You've been told to be quiet and go to sleep, but you're not tired enough. Luke shouts for the 3rd time in a row, "Why are you not going to sleep?" What is your excuse?
This is going to be so fun for me. Macy told me to have a pillow fight.
Perfect. Okay, brilliant. Livy?
The vicar, my mum, was crying in her camper van because she couldn't sleep because the mattress is uncomfortable. And I was trying to find, and she was cold, so I was trying to find some fluffy socks that she could put on so she could sleep.
This did actually happen. Yeah, okay, great. Thank you.
I couldn't sleep because a dog was barking outside, and when I called my mum, she was shouting down the phone, so I couldn't get to sleep because of that either.
Perfect. Okay. Why don't you swap your bits of paper around for the last final question? No, you can keep that. Just swap some of them around so we can have. That's it. Just give them to Elise and swap them over. All right. The final one. This is definitely going to happen too. You've been reminded a lot to zip up your tent in case it rains and not put your bed right up against the canvas. But guess what? You didn't do it. What is your excuse? Yeah, one more time.
No, you say it.
Oh.
Can you say it one more time?
Okay, sure. You've been reminded a lot to zip up your tent in case it rains and not put your bed right up against the canvas. But guess what? You do it anyway, and now your bed is wet. What's your excuse?
I forgot because I was helping the vicar, my mum.
You haven't swapped that one out at all, have you?
As she was fighting with the camper van roof in the middle of the wind.
That's happened too.
No.
Okay.
So when Macy told me to do that, I completely forgot because I was daydreaming at the time. But then the rain got into the tent and I cried into my pillow.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much, Glo. What's your excuse?
There was a dog barking outside, so I wanted to be close to the dog, obviously take care of it. And my mum was also there.
Brilliant. Okay, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. So in this story that Jesus told, the son asks for his inheritance early. And so his father gives him a lot of money and he leaves and he goes far away and he spends all of the money recklessly and he finds that he hits rock bottom and he's as low as he can get. He's far from his family. He has misused his inheritance. He has made wrong choices. He's been tempted. He's misjudged people and he's cut off the very people who loved him and who knew him. And it turns out he really doesn't know best. But then he comes to his senses and he decides to return home and try and earn his way back. And as the son comes home, he sees the father on the horizon running towards him. And there would have been a split second where he'd be thinking, is he running towards me to banish me, to punish me, to shout at me? What is going on? And the son is ready to explain or to beg, but he doesn't get a chance because he's immediately embraced by his father. And that is not the reaction that he's expecting. The son could have pulled away and been like, no, I must explain myself, I'm so sorry. But instead, he allows himself to be hugged and embraced by his dad, and he is reinstated as the son. And so the son in this story, just like Edmund, lost his way. And I think sometimes we do too, in small and big ways. There are people who kind of rebel against God or church or religion and leave and still haven't come home. But I think there are many of us leave over and over again in much smaller ways. We get distracted by other things and we need to be found again. And there have been periods in my life where my faith has gone a bit cold or my routine is disrupted and I don't pray as much and I don't read my Bible as much and I start to feel a bit of a disconnection with God. And when that space opens up between me and God, it can feel really hard to go back. We might feel that our distance has set us back or that God is angry and disappointed with us when maybe we're back to square one, and all of that puts us off. And it feels like the time when I broke the window and I had to walk home and face the music. We just put that stuff off, don't we, as long as we can. And I remember also those moments of coming back to God, and I remember feeling guilty, and I'm thinking, oh, sorry, God, I've not really prayed recently, and sorry I've ignored you, and I've not come to church, and I've kind of pushed my faith to one side. And even when I felt like a distance from God, and I felt worried about talking to him after so long, I also weirdly missed him as well. And what I found is that although I've felt far from God, God has never been far from me. And I've never felt God wagging his finger at me, telling me off. Because actually our Father is just glad that we're home and he cares that we're home. And there's this lovely phrase that we saw in this video just now that Aslan uses about Edmund. What's done is done. The father in the parable doesn't want to rehash all of the mistakes that the son has made. Aslan doesn't want to go over Edmund's mistakes. What's done is done. He's just glad we're home. And Tony Campolo has this old story, which some of you may have heard. But it's a story about a man who had been in prison for several years after making a lot of mistakes. And whilst he's in prison, he stops writing to his family because he begins to just feel really ashamed. And he thinks his family probably don't want to see him again. But the day of his release approaches, and the young man begins to think, well, actually, maybe my family do want me back. He can't bear to face them if they don't. So he writes them a letter, and in it he says, Dear Mum and Dad, I'm going to be released soon, and I'm coming through our town on the train. And if you've forgiven me and you want me to come home, could you please tie a ribbon on the big oak tree in the front garden by the tracks? And if there's a ribbon there, I'll get off the train. And if there's not, that's okay. I'll just carry on, and I'll keep going. And the train approaches his hometown, and he's feeling really nervous, too nervous to look. And he's sat by the window, but there's a man who's sat closer to the window, and he says to him, look, would you do me a favor? Could you look out the window for me and look out for the big oak tree and tell me when we go past if there is a white ribbon on the oak tree? And the man agrees. And the train slows down as it nears the house, and the young man keeps his eyes shut and his hands are shaking, and then the stranger next to him gasps and says, Son, the tree is covered in white ribbons. There's a ribbon on every single branch. You see, the family didn't forgive him, just forgive him. They wanted him back. They loved him. They were waiting and wanted to celebrate his return. And that is what God is like. He's not sitting up there waiting to scold us when we wander off. He is watching the road. He is scanning, constantly ready to run to you the moment that you turn around. And when you do, there is not one ribbon tied to the tree. The whole tree is covered in ribbons. I just want to say two very quick things before we land. And this is the first one, that you might be feeling today a bit lost or a bit disconnected from God in some way. Maybe in a small way, a tiny way that only you know about, or maybe in a bigger way. Maybe you haven't talked to him for a while, or you haven't been to church much recently, or you're just feeling ashamed about a mistake that you've made. God is just glad that you are here. And instead of letting our shame and our embarrassment and our regret keep us away, the invitation is just to come home. As we are, with whatever mess we are carrying. We might feel bad about the distance or the mess, but God is just happy to embrace us. He's not put off by our mess at all. So don't put off coming home. There actually is and will be plenty of times in our walk with God where we wander off and we get a bit lost. Coming home is not about getting it right or being perfect. It's about being honest that we're a bit lost, and it's about being willing to be found. And God will always, 100% of the time, welcome us home. It doesn't matter how long we have left it. The door is always open. His arms are always wide. And the path is always shorter than we think it is. And the second thing is this, that there may be people who you love who, like the son in the story, have left faith or don't realize yet that they are lost. Our role is to trust our Father in heaven that he is scanning the horizon for their return. But also it's to trust that really none of us are truly lost to God, however we might feel. I think that there is a kind of universal homing device within each of us that's always pulling us towards God because we're made in his image. We are wired to know him and to be drawn to him. And I think he is always longing and ready to find us. So wherever you are at today, however great or small the distance, let's celebrate that we are home with our Father, that we were lost, but now that we're found and we are embraced by Jesus. So should we stand together and pray? You might just want to shut your eyes and just imagine, think for yourself as a kind of check-in where you are at today. Are you feeling connected or a bit of a distance between you and God? And why that might be. And perhaps you might want to imagine Jesus on the horizon with his arms outstretched for you. That he longs for your company, however long it's been. He longs for your company. He longs for your presence. He longs to be with you. And the distance is really short for him. There's no making up to do. There's just a recognition that we are lost and a willingness to be found by God. Father, thank you that you are the Father scanning the horizon, that you are the shepherd that goes after the lost sheep. Thank you that you long for us and that you embrace us when we return to you. Help us to feel your embrace today, to know that you love us, that you sing over us, that you smile over us, and that you are so happy when we are home and connected with you. In Jesus' name, amen.